Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. So today being Wednesday means it's time for another thought-provoking and ponderous topic for us to get our teeth stuck into. And this week's is a doozy. We're going to be talking about some reasons not to buy silver. Now I know that a lot of you out there will have very strong opinions on this, and I would encourage you to share those in the comment section, because that's what this Wednesday video topic is all about. It's about finding an interesting topic that we can have a good discussion on, a good ramble about here on YouTube, and then share our thoughts down in the comment section. So I wanted to even things up with this video topic because I've talked about some reasons not to buy platinum and reasons not to buy gold in the last couple of weeks. If you haven't checked those videos out, highly recommend you go and have a look. The links are down in the description below. But I thought I'd even it out by presenting some of the reasons perhaps why you might not want to buy silver in this current market. Now, before I jump into that and talk a bit more about it, I want to caveat this whole video with my usual disclaimer, which is to say that I'm not a financial planner. This is not financial advice. These are just my own thoughts and opinions. I'm just a dude who likes to buy shiny things and talk about them here on YouTube. So any financial decisions you make from watching this video are yours and yours alone, and I'd highly recommend that you go and watch loads more different videos than just mine. Go and research as much as possible if you're new to the game and you want to get involved in investing in silver. Now, some of the reasons that I'm going to talk about why you should not buy silver today are going to transpose years and even metal types. They can be extrapolated out to different metals and different reasons, different time periods why you shouldn't buy silver. But today I just want to present some of the sort of negative aspects to investing in silver. The first one I want to talk about is something which a lot of people have a big misconception about in the early days of investing in silver, and that is that silver is not a get-rich-quick scheme. A lot of people think, oh, buying silver, you can buy it today, 3, 4, 5 days time or a week's time, silver price will go up, you sell it, you make money, job's done. Well, silver isn't really like that. It is a very volatile metal, so there might well be periods when you buy at a certain price and a week later it will be a higher price and you could sell and make a bit of money. But ultimately, silver is not really something that will get you a lot of money in the short term. What it is very good at is a long-term wealth preservation tool, and that's one of the reasons why it's been around for the 5, 6, 7,000 years in human history that has been used, and that's why you can see here with these old school US half dollars that it was used as a form of currency for so long. I love these old half dollars, they're absolutely amazing with these awesome tonings on them. But that's why silver was used for so long. It is a very, very stable long-term wealth preservation metal. So if you are looking to invest some money in silver at the moment, that might be something to think about. However, there are a lot of other things, a lot of other factors to take into consideration if you've got some money lying around that you want to invest. And that is that silver is not an income producing asset. It just sits there. This big kilo silver bar that I bought on the Silver Forum a couple of weeks ago is one of my favourite pieces of all time. But it is just that, it's a favourite piece. It just sits there, it doesn't do anything. It just sits there, and in fact over the last week or two you might argue that it has lost a little bit of value because the silver price has dropped down a little bit since I bought it. So having this cash equivalent in the bank or in a stocks and shares ISA, or perhaps invested in stocks and shares, or even invested in a property that perhaps you've got to rent out, or even putting that additional money towards your mortgage to pay your mortgage off a little bit sooner might be the better option for you, because at the end of the day, silver, it just sits there. It doesn't do anything. It's very nice to look at. It preserves your wealth very well over the longer term, but it doesn't give you anything. And I think that's really important. And it's something that I've talked about here on the YouTube channel quite a lot, and certainly for beginners out there, people who are looking to invest in silver for the first time. Perhaps you've inherited some money, or you've got yourself that job which is paying you good money and you're saving. You've got some money in your savings that you don't know what to do with, and you're looking to diversify your portfolio. I would highly recommend one of the following few things before you even think about investing in silver. Clear your debts, so get as debt-free as you possibly can be. Clear off those credit cards. Make sure that all those car payments are made before you go and look to buy silver, because one of the biggest pitfalls of silver is buying it now, being forced to sell it in the short term when the price perhaps isn't the right value for you. And certainly for us here in the UK, we have a huge tax on silver. The premiums above silver are very, very large, and it can yield huge losses if you do not plan your finances accordingly. So over here in the UK, that's something I really want to focus on as well in the second part of this video. So, well, just to summarise there, income producing assets perhaps are a lot more sort of valuable in that shorter, medium, long term. I say short, medium, long term. There's all three. It can be better in the long term. You look back 30 years, house prices, gold prices. Those are the two that performed best. So silver can do as well as property over the long term, but you can't live in a block of silver. You can live in a house. So if you buy a house, you can live in it. You can get value out of it because it protects you, it shelters you. You can't do that with silver. That's kind of what I was talking about there. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that silver, certainly here in the UK and Europe, holds a pretty high premium over the other metals. So in the UK, we have to buy silver with VAT, sales tax, which is 20% here in the UK. Or you buy it from Europe and then you have to pay, I think it's like 7 or 8% tax. So it's still not very close to spot, but at the same time it's cheaper than in the UK, but you pay for large shipping costs. Obviously there are ways around that, like the group orders which I arrange, but ultimately it is a lot more of a percentage over the price of silver than perhaps buying one of the other types of metals would be, gold. And that premium over the price of the metal is a really important thing because it's basically just money that goes away. It goes to governments, it goes to the state. It's a tax. It's a sales tax at the end of the day, and that's really, really harsh. It can really cripple value of stacks, and you don't necessarily get that if you were looking to buy stocks and shares, for example. You certainly won't get that if you just have the money sitting in a bank account. And if you are looking to buy a house, the first house in the next 3, 4, 5 years, and you're saving up at the moment, then buying silver might not be the best thing to do because you will potentially lose out on those premiums, because selling that silver back to dealers, it will, you will not get your premiums back. You will not get that premium over spot unless it's a very, very good collector's coin that's appreciated very well indeed. So, you can go around buying things as cheap as possible, like this big silver bar which I bought, which was a very low premium over spot, and then you just hope that the silver price will increase by the time you need to use it. But to mitigate all of that, I would just highly recommend that you think about what those goals are going to be for the future, and you plan accordingly, and then you have that safety net of money in the bank so that if there is an eventuality where you're forced to sell something, it's not your silver. Now, the last reason I want to talk about not buying silver at the moment is that there is a lot of pitfalls in the market at the moment, and you've just got to look, I think, at the manipulation that's out there for the silver market. There's just so much paper silver being sold on the sort of bigger scale markets, stuff we can't even comprehend as individual stackers, or even as a group of stackers altogether. We wouldn't even have a smidgen of the buying power that these huge paper contracts have, and that's something which I think is really important. So if you're buying, and this kind of links into the first point, which is silver isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, and silver is a very highly manipulated market. It is not one that is likely to shoot the moon in the next couple of weeks or months or years. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that will say it will, and you'll see a lot of videos on YouTube that will talk about $100 silver, $1,000 silver, and all of this jazz. It's, in my opinion, a very unlikely occurrence, just because you look at the sort of paper markets, you look at the big banks, investment groups, you look at the different countries which manipulate silver prices. It's just not going to happen. It really isn't, and it would not be in the world's interest for it to happen, because over half of the world's silver at the moment is used within industry, and if there was a huge, giant, massive run on silver prices because of that manipulation, then the industry, everything would get so much more expensive, and nearly everything electronic at the moment has silver in it, and it would have a huge, massive impact on the world's economy if this sort of paper market falls. So as much as we hate the fact that silver is a manipulated market, that is the sad fact of the matter. One thing that is for sure is that silver is a very volatile metal price. It will go up, it will go down, and a prime example of that is this week. We've seen some horrible things happening in Syria, and then the reaction from the UK, the US, and France to bomb Syria, and obviously that's raised huge tensions in the region as well as tensions with Russia. And what effect that's going to have on metals. Over the weekend, a lot of people talking about that metals will jump first thing Monday. They'll go up because of the uncertainty in the world, and that would have been a pretty safe bet. People go for those types of investments, safe haven assets, when turmoil is around in the world. But the opposite happened first thing Monday. It stays stagnant. In fact, silver went down slightly on the first sort of trading of Monday. So it's a really interesting kind of market. You can't predict it. It's so volatile. It really is. So harking back to that first point, which is that silver is not a get-rich-quick scheme, it really isn't. It can go one of two ways, and I've been complete victim of that myself in history, buying silver shopped for my hand-poured silver You know, I'll buy 10 kilos one month and think I've got a really great price, and of course what happens on Monday? Price goes down about 15 pence an ounce, and I think to myself, I could have saved myself a couple of £100 or whatever it might be. You know, it really is one of those horrible things that happens, and you've just got to kind of get used to it. You've got to have a hard skin when you're investing in silver. Now obviously the lower prices in silver at the moment that we're seeing in this year are a factor to play into things, and one of the reasons perhaps not to buy silver at the moment is that silver could go a lot lower than it is right now. You know, it could also go higher. That's the whole beauty of this market, and the uncertainty and the volatility that comes with it. So if you've got a large sum of money, you might want to wait and see what happens with silver, and then perhaps buy in the future. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Bit of a rambling video about lots of different things. Overall, I have to say I am a big fan of silver as a preservation of wealth tool. It's very cheap at the moment. You know, so this video, lots of very negative things about silver, talking about perhaps why you wouldn't want to buy it. I just want to finish by saying that I do think that silver is a very good way to save money at the moment. Certainly if you're not that good at saving cash and you want to have something for the long term, rather than going out and spending it on you know, nightclubs and drinks and casinos or whatever, then yeah, save silver. It is a good thing to do. It's a physical asset that you will not be able to go down to a casino and use down there as opposed to cash. So that is my thoughts on this subject. I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject, so if you would like to comment, please do. I would encourage it. Even if you disagree with the things I've said, I want to hear from you. I really do get a lot of value from hearing what people's thoughts are, and I know a lot of other people do as well. It's a really interesting, you know, interesting to get other people's thoughts on this topic. But please do comment respectfully. You know, not everybody will agree with your opinion, as not everybody will agree with my opinion. So please comment respectfully in the section below. Otherwise, if you could put a thumbs up on this video and share it around on social media, that would be very helpful indeed. If you like the video, put a thumbs up on it. And even if you disagreed with what I've been saying, if you like the way that I presented it, if you like the channel, please put a thumbs up as well. That would be very helpful indeed. Otherwise, all that I have to say is please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.